So, hi everybody and welcome back to Untitled Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is game 2 and we started with our planning in our last video, and in this video I want to continue there a little bit. So, what have we done so far? So, I open up this folder and I go to the overview for paper, and here you can see in the overview we made here a very high level overview. I made here 4 blocks and we have covered this one a little bit, this get assets and references in the last video. Let me open this one up, this get assets and references. You can see this is this block here, and I told you that you have to get as many assets which you can get for your project. So which means all these assets which you get here you will have not to create from scratch, and that can help you a lot. In my case, for this demonstration, I get just here this horror engine, and then I added here just 3 assets. I will use the inventory system, this flashlight lighter, and probably I will use more. So this list is not complete, but this is the start point. So I know I need this one, and I will use this windmill demo map, and I will use this demo level there probably. And then I change this, I make there a little bit level design. That was this first step what we talked already in the last video, but in this video we go one step further, which is we have of course you have to learn all these assets as well. I told you all these assets to understand take also time. You have probably watch how to use that and all this kind of stuff. And let's assume we have done this. I have watched a little bit this horror engine, a little bit this windmill, not in detail, but yeah, that's enough. We will do it while we develop our game and more. So with that said, we go to the next block, which is our start game, right? We want to start now our game. So how we start our game, that's here, the next slide. And I said, okay, this is now the start game block, so that we can, let's put this overview here side by side so we know. Here we are now in this block, start game. Start game says we have first, before we can start our game, we need a game setup. What means game setup and all this kind of stuff? Game setup means here again what we did in our first video. We have activate, for example, source control, and organize our assets perhaps which we want to use. Create this folders, this project folders. Perhaps you want to make 2 project folders, one for your development, one for your test. Set up the project settings and all kind of stuff. And after that we start with our game. And in my case, when I start then with my game, that will be again, I make it very simple. We have to talk about this block here again, this main menu widget. But before we talk about this one, where we really start with our game, we have to cover up now this game start. So let's go into game start. That's our thing what we have to do. And you know, that was my project folder. You can see here I organized a little bit more, but not that much. And I don't know what this is, but anyway, that's not important. Right now, here's my content folder. Here is this horror engine. I don't know if this belongs all to horror engine, but I thought they belong all to the horror engine, so I made them in the same color. And this windmill has all its own color here, and they belong normally together. So you should normally, when you add here assets, they should be normally all in one folder so that you have not something like that. But yeah, sometimes they are not in one folder, whatever. In our case, the first thing what I make here is, before I set up my game, let's create our game folder. So right click here, new folder, and now we create our game folder. I think I did this already. I write here game development. Let's write here game development. Here, this is our game folder, and let's give it also a special color so it pops up. And let's, I don't know, let's make it blue. So this is my game development folder. All right, so this game development folder is that folder where we want to create our game. But before we can go there, we need to set up. But we can't set up here in the other maps because right now I'm in this horror engine map folder and on like this. So the first thing what we have to do is probably create a level for our game folder, and then we are setting up all things there. So what we do is just right click, we go to again a new folder because I need a level folder, or you can call it level, map, what you like. Level, let's call this level. And in this level, I will create a new level probably, but this level should be created in a right way already, so not in a wrong way. But because I want just set up things, I make it very easy and not a real level. I make just an empty level. I will probably need anyway an empty level. Let's create a new level, empty level, don't save here, whatever. And I will call this level, because I know I will need this level, an empty level, my main menu level. I call this my main menu level. And let's see, oops, not here. I have to save this now here. Save all, yes, let's save this on it. Here, go here on top to file, save current level as. All right, save current level as. Then I go to my game folder, my level folder, and I call it map. You can call it map or level. Let's call, normally they call it all time map, but let's call it level this time. Doesn't matter, map or level. I think I call it map because they call it all time map. Map, main menu. So this is my main menu. I save this, so this level will be my main menu, but we can still change this later. Important is now we have now this set, and now we have set up, like I said before, we need to go to this game setup. And like I said before, game setup means project settings, source control. So we talked already about source control. I hope you can set up. The source control is here on the bottom. You create again the source control. You create again a connection to this local repository of this project. Or should I show you this? Let me show you this, how you make this. What you do is you just open up, if you are using Git Desktop, I made a demonstration with Git Desktop, which is very easy. You go to Git Desktop, you open up this one here, and then what you can do is here file and add local repository. Here, this local repository is your Unreal Engine folder with the new created game. I mean, this new game folder where you created all your things. In my case, it's this one here. You can see I created now this Mega Worm game, and here all this kind of stuff you are adding to this repository, and then you are sending this to your GitHub account. So log there in. Then you can set up this one properly. We already talked about this one, and this is just for security purposes, so you can reword them. If there is something else, you can change it, and instead of changing them one hand by hand and so on. All right, with that said, I hope you know how to set up source control, and of course you don't have to use Git. Perhaps you use a better system. For example, if you are working in teams, they probably use Perforce or more team-oriented system. Let's call it this way. But in our purpose, source control Git is it's enough. It's just for our backup. So with that said, I hope we can go to the next setup. And the next setup is also something what you don't have to do all time by hand. What is the next setup? The next setup is you go here to your project settings, and then you can set up here all the things what you need. No, but here important is instead, if you already created a project, right, and you have already set up all these project settings there, and you know the project settings from the other one is the same like here, then you can just import the whole thing what you want, or just import the ini file, because this project setting here is just a ini file, and you just copy the ini file and replace this ini file with this one, and it is done. Or you just import all time the project settings for the sections which you need. Then you don't have to set this up all time manually, but in our case, for this purpose demonstration, I make here just this map and mods, and later I set up the all other things. And you can see here, this is one of the first thing what you normally set up, because this is the start screen, and later when you ship your game, it is your start screen in the shipping game as well. That's why this one is very important. And you can see here right now, when you open up the horror engine, is set by default. That's okay in my case. But here the default map is not okay, because I want not start with the default map with the horror engine now, because now I change this to my created main menu map. And this one as well, this is the game default map, which means when we are shipping our game, this is the first place where the customer should access the game, and main menu map is all time a nice place. But we will talk here about later again, but about this project setting, because yeah, later there are some other settings as well. And this one I keep because I want to use the horror engine player, the first person player, and then the setup with the movement and all this kind of stuff. So this is enough. And when you click here close, here is no save button, you can just close it and it is so saved automatically. And then we can do one more thing, save. Of course, you can see we have here a commit, we will make this later. And yeah, that let's see what we have to set up here too. I think source control, this project settings, and you have imported all your assets so that you can get be ready to get started with your game. And you have tested here all these assets, so you have fairly knowledge. What I mean with testing, by the way, let me demonstrate you this. So let's go here again fast to this horror engine. Or no, let's, yeah, we can go there, whatever. Let's go here to this overview level. And in this overview level, what I mean with testing is, you can see there are many assets. Perhaps you have no clue, but interesting is this assets here. You can go here, select horror engine, select this filter to find all blueprints, and these blueprints are so nice. Why they are so nice? Because blueprints means you can use them and they integrated them to use. For example, let me show you this. Here are some parts. When you start the game, you can click on this, but interesting is here also, for example, there is something like a photo thing. And when I start here the game, play from here, you can test this kind of things, how they work, right? So for example, I click on this one. Now it says Cameroid added to equipment, and then you have, of course, later tell the player how to use that. But you can see now I have this camera, and this one is working nice. So you can see, let's make here a photo. And perhaps you can use this, and then we have to shake, and then you can see this photo is here. And yeah, that's nice that this kind of stuff work out of the box. And you tested what you later need, right? So all, of course, you will not need all. And not this again. Where is the flashlight? I don't know. But there was any. Here is it. Okay, and what I mean is you just test this kind of stuff, and interesting is probably also test the other stuff. For example, how to make activate a torchlight. You need probably a lighter. Where's the lighter now? I don't know. Was there a lighter? No, this is battery. Here is a lighter. Let's select this, and then how this torchlights work. And you can see here this different kind of settings of this candle are all the same candles here. the difference is they have different settings, and then you set this let's activate the slider, and then you can set here to see the difference how they works, and that's important to see. And you can see this one arm goes down like hell, and then it's out, and they stay infinitive, and all this kind of stuff. You understand what I mean, right? You have to test your assets. You have to see if you just can use them instantly. And the nice thing about this is I can use them instantly. What I mean with use them instantly is I can just create a new level. I start this player as a horror game engine. Let me show you this, what I mean. So let's go to our game, for example, what we created. Let's go to our... okay, when you don't see something like here, probably your filter here is activated. So I have to deactivate this. Let's remove this. And then you can see it here again. So let's click this. Don't save that because here is the thing what I work. And here it's empty because the main menu level, there I will add just a widget. We will set this up in a moment, or perhaps in the next video. Let me demonstrate you fast what I mean. You should be, you can use this horror engine directly. So here in the world settings, just go here. By default, by the way, was the project settings. Let me show you this one again. That's very important. By default, this maps and mobs, it's set by horror engine. And that's why when you just start here, you start with the first character of the horror engine. You can see this is the first person. I have my aim. You hear the sound. About the sound, we have to talk. They made a separate sound system there, interesting thing. And then because you have now the first person character, you can just place, for example, this horror engine asset here on the ground. Let me write again here the blueprint section so I don't have to search much. Let's say I want to use now the camera. You can see that was a camera before. That was our created level, right? And I make here play from here. I go here. Here's my engine. Here I click and I can use it. And the nice thing is because it's a blueprint, I said make a picture and it works. So the nice thing about this is because this is already integrated, perfect for starters, we just use it. The blueprint is already coded and we have to integrate it in our level and make a use. Of course, it's not finished because we have to make a useful integration. That takes also, knowledge how to integrate this your level later, how to call this and all this stuff. But the nice thing is it's here. We have not to create now this photo here. We have not to create how we pick this up. We have not to create how to use it. It's already done for us. That's a lot of work which is done, which we have just to use or make use and make our level design, make our use design, how we use them, how we integrate this to our level and all this kind of stuff. So the nice thing, if you have something like that, it's nice because, like I said, we are not creating all from scratch. And when you have no time, like in our 7 days challenge, then I would use something like that. And I'm using this one here now. So that was enough talk about this. So what we can do now, I think you get the idea, right? You have to test this out. We have set up our start level and we go here, remove this. And now we are here. Don't save this one. And this part here is when I open up my overview level, you can see the start game. We have this game set up as there. We have the source control. We have project settings. We have tested out that we can use the blueprints. They work because I have set up here by default the project settings, the horror engine, but you don't have to set this in default because later, one more thing, this here is default settings, right? This project here in maps, let's go here again to maps and mods. This mod is here default. Of course, later in your game, when you create a map, you go to your world settings and then you can set your game mode here. That makes more sense later. For example, here is none, and here you set up later, for example, horror game engine game mode, but for example, this one is my main menu. There I don't need a horror game engine game mode. Perhaps I set here just no game mode at all, or perhaps a main menu game mode, which is just loading up a widget, and then this widget has a button. When I click the button, it opens up the real gameplay menu level. So, I make this way probably, and yeah, just in case that you should know this, we will set up this in this world setting, so every map will get its own game mode, because the game mode is, like you should know by now, the game mode is the place where you can where you should control all over the things in your game, right? So the game mode has so more or less the control over your game, so all the important settings, let's say it this way. All right, I think I stopped this video here. So the only thing what you have to do now is set up the game so that we get started, and in the next game we will dive into the next step, which will be our main menu widget. And before we dive in, I tell you now that, because it's very short, why I start with the main menu widget. Normally, what I say is normally, let's go here to the other view again. You can see here, we finish this block, we go to the start game, and the start game, this game setup, that's very important, yes, but the problem is this main menu widget must be not the start of a game, right? And that's very important here. Let me demonstrate you this one. Let's make here this way. So now I can, this one here, after game setup, when we start the game, this main menu widget must be not the start game. What I mean with must be not the start the game, I mean, of course, you can see in other games, you have there intro, right? You have just an intro, and the problem with the intro is the intro can be so different in kinds. What kind of intro we know? For example, you can have here a trailer. Yeah, that's right, a trailer intro. You can have here a picture intro. You can have here a sound intro or music intro, who knows? And you can have here different kind of intros, right? And this intro block is big. So different kind of ways how you can introduce your game, right? And this block here, let me make this fast. So let's make this fast. So let's put this here a little bit here. And this game setup must be done. Let's do this here. And this is here the real game start. And the problem with this intro is, let's make this as a block, because this one is its own block. And so this intro, like I said, again, when you watch this a little bit more bigger games, they start not with a main menu widget, right? They don't start, like in my case, I will make here when you open up your game, I will start here with a main menu widget. Of course, you can add sound and all this kind of stuff, but other games have, for example, trailers or introduction video, something like that, or pictures, or animated pictures with text telling the story, or music with voice acting telling the story, something like that. And there are different ways, and probably there are much more ways to start a game, right? And in this game tutorial, our game, we have not much time to make a trailer. Trailer is very not so easy to make, and picture and music, this kind of stuff take much time. That's why this part I skipped. I just don't make it. But keep in mind that this kind of stuff is more for advanced games. In my game, I say I just start with a main menu widget. And in this main menu widget, perhaps I make a little introduction, because you need a game introduction anyhow. But I don't know if I make this later when I start the game. So with a text or anyhow, we will need a game introduction. But in my case, when the player start the game, he will see the first thing what he is seeing. He sees this game menu widget. and then he can start game, and then when the game starts, perhaps I make an introduction text there, so not with a trailer or something like that. So that's very important to say. That's what I wanted to show you here. And in the next video, we start directly to create our main menu widget in the next video. All right, with that said, I stop this video. If you have any questions or any complaints like all time, write it in the comments, and see you in the next video where we start our main menu widget to set up our game. Bye, good luck, and have fun like all time.